On your computer right now, you already have a text editor. You can use it to write code, save the file, run it, and it works. Because code is just text. So why does everyone tells you to install VS Code? That's what this video is about. VS Code is a code editor, which means it's just a smart text editor that knows about programming. That's the whole thing. It opens files, you type into them, you save them, all the things you already know. The only difference is that it understands programming and it can help you in writing it. Before we install it, let me prove to you my first claim, that you don't have to have VS Code to write code. Let's take a look. Here's the folder that you want to work in. You have an index.html file and a style.css. If I click on this, it is going to by default open my browser, and here's that simple website. Let's open this file, change the content, and see that it changes inside the browser. And I'm going to do that using a normal text editor. It's installed by default on macOS, and it is called TextEdit. If you don't see what I'm seeing here, make sure that you go to the settings and turn on this option. Here's my HTML file. It's written in HTML language, and this is the text that I'm seeing on the screen. Let me change it, save it, and then rerun the browser. That's it. That's writing code. You could do this and it will work, but it will be miserable. No help, no suggestion, nothing. Let me show you what a code editor does for you. Search for VS Code and go to Visual Studio Code website. On the download page, go ahead and download VS Code for your operating system. Install it like any other app, then open it, and we are in. This is just a welcome window. Go ahead and close it from here. Very well, let's start using it. The easiest way is to drag and drop a code file inside VS Code. So I'm going to take this one, open it here. The file is open and we can edit it. Now let me show you what VS Code does that text editors don't. The first one is coloring. VS Code looks at a file that you have opened and figures out what kind of code you're trying to write. Then it will color the part of the code that has some meaning in that language. And your actual content stays plain. Anything that's colored is part of the syntax, the building block of that language, and everything else is your content. But everything works the same. If I edit this text here, put it back to how it was, and take a look at the browser, you can see that the changes appearing here. So VS Code is trying to be a helpful editor by coloring some part of your code so that you can tell them apart easier. Let's open the other file that we have, which is style.css. I'm going to open it the same way, just drag and drop it into VS Code. These are just some CSS rules that are controlling the coloring on my web page. Let's go and actually change the color of this text. So I can just hover on this, I can see the color, I get a color picker, and for example, I can go and change it to something red. Make sure you save and then refresh your page. You should see the color has changed. Very simple. Now let me change the other color that we have here, this time using a text editor, and see the difference. So let's open this one using text editor. That's the same file in text editor, and the first thing that you notice is that there is no color preview or color picker. This is just regular text. But okay, anyway, let's change the color here and set it to something else. Maybe set it to all 0, which will be all black. Let's do it. Let's save, let's refresh, and it's all white now. Weird. Let me put it back to what it was. Save, refresh, and you can see it is still white. What happened? Let's go open this in VS Code and see if that will help us. Here's the same style file. I see that the file name is red. If I hover on it, it is telling me that there is one problem in this file. If I go at the bottom left of the page, I can click and see that there's one error. Here it is telling me on line 6, column 33, character 33, I have a problem. And you can see that it's actually putting an underline on where that problem is. If I hover on the problem, it is telling me what do I need to do. It says that this was expected. Okay, so let's put that there. Save, refresh, and we got the color back. Now let's set it to all 0. Save, refresh, and now the background is all black. And we have no problem in this file. So this text editor has no idea that I made a mistake on this line. has no idea what I'm doing or what I'm trying to write, and doesn't understand that this is a color. It's just a dumb text editor. That's it. But VS Code is context aware. It knows where you are in your file and what kind of code you're trying to write, and it will try to help you there. And it doesn't just spot your errors, it can help you write code. Let me show you. We are going to write some CSS together, and thanks to VS Code, you don't even have to know CSS to write it. I'm going to put the cursor on the new line. This thing that you see here is GitHub Copilot, the AI, and it's trying to be helpful. But right now I don't need help, and it is bugging me, so I can disable it. You can click on this icon. This is GitHub Copilot. Go to inline suggestions, and you can disable that, like this. Later on, if you like, you can enable it and benefit from it. All right, back to writing code. Here, I want to try to write something, and I want VS Code to help me. So I want some suggestions. I can get VS Code suggestion by pressing Control Space. A menu pops up, and these are all the things that are valid to write in this spot of your code. We have these two already defined here, so let's try to type H. By just typing H, you get that menu again, this time limited to all the items starting with H. Let's select the first one, and here you can see that I have that red underline again. It is telling me that it is expecting this. Okay, let me put it. VS Code was helpful enough to put that closing curly braces for me. If I didn't put that, I see the error, and it is telling me that this one is expected. Okay? Now I don't have an error, but I have a warning. Take a look at here. It is telling me not to use an empty rule set. Okay, so it wants me to put something inside it so that it won't be empty. Let me just go to the new line so that we get more space, and let me ask for suggestions. I'm going to press Control Space. Here's a different list of things that will make sense to write in this spot of the code. You can see it's different from the menu that we have seen before it. So the things that you put here on a new line are different from the things that you put inside this thing, okay? We have seen background color here, so let's use the same thing here. Let me bring the menu, let's type back, and I can see all the things that start with this word. Let's pick the background color. Now we have a different menu, this time for colors, and pick the color that you like. I'm gonna go with Azure. Press Command S to save your file and refresh the browser. You can see the background color has been applied to this text. You may not know CSS yet, but VS Code was helpful enough to walk you through writing a complete CSS rule and changing the color of something on your web page. Let's hover on that thing and see what it is. You can see it is this one, and if you go take a look at your HTML file, you can see that we have this element here. This is the thing that we have changed the background color of. But what is this thing? Let's hover on it. You can see that it represents a section heading. Want to know more? Here's the reference for you. Just click on it. This is HTML documentation, and we are taking a look at that element. You can read about this and see some examples and figure out what that element is exactly representing. In this case, it's pretty simple. It's just a level 1 heading. So if you don't know a piece of code, just hover on it and check the documentation. Or start typing and take a look at the menu and see what's available. And you can always get the suggestion menu by just pressing the Control Space. So VS Code is very helpful to you, especially when you're starting your coding journey. Very good. So far, we have been editing files that already existed. Now let's go and create a new file and name it maybe home.html. One way to do it is to go on the File menu and click on New File. Here you can choose the name for that file. Let's call it home.html. Click on Create. It is asking you where do you want to create it. I want to create it inside that project folder. And let's create that file, and it's going to open it here for me. If you look at your folder, you can see that that file has been created. That works, but I don't recommend doing this. There's a better way. Whenever you're coding or creating something, usually work inside a folder. That folder is your workspace. It's usually a project folder, and you have all the files that are relating to that project sitting inside that folder, exactly like here. It would be more helpful to open that entire folder inside our VS Code, have a small Finder or File Explorer here, and manage our files within VS Code. And we can easily do that. Here, if you click on this icon here, which is your file explorer, you can open a folder by clicking on this button. But the easier way again is to drag and drop that folder into VS Code. So I just drag and drop the whole folder and it will be opened inside my code editor. Close this welcome window and this right-hand tab, and here we have our files. First, let's see what we're looking at. In here, we have opened that project folder inside VS Code, and we are taking a look at the same files here. That's why it says project on top here. And whatever change I do inside here, it will be reflected on my Finder as well. So this is just a view into the same thing. Let me prove it to you. Let's go and delete this home.html. So you can right click on it, click on delete, move to trash, and it's gone from Finder as well. You have some buttons on top for creating new files or creating new folders. Let me create a new folder. Let's call it pages. I'm going to press enter. You can see that folder created here. Inside that, I want to create a file. Let's name it home.html. And you can see that file has been created here. So by doing that, we no longer need that Finder on our right side, and we can work on our project all within the VS Code and create our files and folders in here and complete our task. Now let's go and write some code into this new file that we have created. So this is a blank file, and a useful shortcut in VS Code for creating an HTML file is to put an exclamation mark and press enter. It is going to create the basic HTML structure that every HTML file requires, so you don't have to do it. And then let's just type something here. That is it. That's my web page. Now let's go and take a look at it inside the browser. Here's the file. Let's double click it and see it inside the browser. We can see that it is a blank document. There is nothing inside it. But we have wrote something here. How is it that nothing is showing up? Let me explain. When you open a file inside VS Code, the VS Code program is going to go and read that file from your computer storage, read it to your computer memory, and then display the content to you on VS Code. Then you will make your changes, write things, remove things, or whatever you need to do, and then you will save that file. Once you save the changes that you made in VS Code is going to write the new content to the file that you have on your computer storage, and then your browser will be able to read that file and display you the content. The reason that nothing is appearing inside our browser is that we forgot to save that file. That's what this white dot on top is telling us, that we have some unsaved changes inside home.html. If you look at that file inside your Finder, you can see that its size is actually 0 bytes. There is no content inside it. If you open it using text edit, you can see that it is actually an empty file. There is nothing inside it. But once you save the changes using Command S, those changes will be saved to that file. You see that the size has increased to 224 bytes. Now, if you take a look at it inside your text edit, you can see the content that you just added. And if you open it within your browser, you can see the content showing up. But here's the thing. We developers are lazy. Or maybe we just have too many things to do and we don't want to think about saving our files on top of that. And good news is that we don't have to. We can change the setting on VS Code to do the job for us so that we don't have to worry about this again. So click on this setting icon that you see here and open settings. There are many settings inside VS Code and you will adjust them as you learn more about this tool. But for now, let's search for save setting and we can see that the autosave is off. So let's actually turn it on and set it maybe after delay. So now VS Code, after some delay, is going to save our changes to the file. So we don't have to think about it. Let's try it. I just put some exclamation marks at the end. I refresh and I see the changes taking effect. So from now on, VS Code is going to take care of saving the file for me. Another thing that's bugging me right now is this line. It's just too long and its content runs off the edge of the screen. To read that, I have to scroll right and take a look at its content. And I don't like that, and I don't need to tolerate it. Let's go to the settings again. This time look for word wrap. It controls how lines should wrap, and I want to turn it on. Let me close it. And there we have it. VS Code just going to extend line number 5, and it's going to wrap the content to display it within my screen. I don't need to scroll right to see the content of a long line. The actual file content hasn't changed. This all is still on line number 5, but it is being shown to me in multiple lines. And that makes my life easier. And I like that. 2 annoying issues solved. Autosave and this line wrapping. Not bad. Let's continue. The autosave is on. When I make some changes, those changes are saved to the file, but I have to refresh my browser to see those changes. And this is still annoying. You can see that I'm not at all an easygoing person. But believe me, when you code enough, this is annoying. I want my VS Code to do this refresh thing for me. But VS Code doesn't have that feature. It just doesn't have it. It can't do it. And that's where extensions come in. You install an extension in your VS Code to extend its functionality, to add extra functionality that VS Code doesn't have by default. This button on the left will open the extension panel. And this is just a marketplace. You can search for extensions and you can install them. You can also create your own extension later on. So anyone can create an extension and put it here. So it's important to download and install the extensions that are verified or trusted by many people, as you see here. So let's install an extension that will make my browser to refresh the page whenever I make some changes. Let's search for live server. That's its name. This is the one I'm looking for. You can see it's installed by 78 million people. And here you can read some information about it. But I'm just going to install it. So click on install and it's installed and you're done. Now let's go and see how it works. When I'm looking at an HTML file, I see that there is this button appearing down there. So if I click on it, it is going to open that file inside my browser. Now, if I make some changes, for example, let me remove this, you can see that the browser refreshed itself. So if I add things here, now it's going to appear there without me needing to press that refresh button all the time. No more switching tabs and no more refresh. I can focus on writing my code. Let's see other useful extensions. You see that I need to put my VS Code tab on the left and put a browser tab on the right? Well, someone have thought about it and realized why not bring a browser inside VS Code so that we don't have to leave VS Code at all. And they have created live preview extension. Let me install it. This is this one here from Microsoft. Let's install it. And here's the difference. I can click on this button instead, which is labeled as show preview, and it's going to open a browser inside VS Code for me. So now if I type something here, it's going to appear right away. And this is pretty useful sometimes. Let's look at one more extension, and that is about code formatting. So when I'm coding, I, for example, create a div element, I put some text, I go to the next line, I create a p element, put some more text, I add some new lines, and that's what I have. This code is not formatted. You see how these elements are formatted? They have equal amount of space before them. These are indented because they're inside of this head element. We will learn about that later, but don't worry about it. If you click an arrow here, you can see that these are actually inside it, and they are very organized and neat and placed side by side. But take a look at the code that I wrote. It's anything but neat. So I need to tidy this up and organize this so that others, when reading my code, won't call me names. But I don't want to organize that myself. I want someone to do that for me. And that is the Prettier extension. Let's search for it. It's called Prettier. This one, you can see that this has installed by 68 million people. Let's install that. Close the extension tab. And now I need to tell Prettier to format my document. I can right click, go on Format Document With, and here I can select Prettier. As you can see, it has put my document together in a clean, formatted way. So if I mess things up, make things untidy, I can use Prettier to format my document and put it back together. But this is annoying as well. I want Prettier to format my document automatically. I don't want to tell it to format my document. It should do it by itself. Auto format. And that is something we can do as well. So just go to your settings, search for format, and here we have two options. First one is format on save. So we want each time our file is saved, it should be formatted as well. Let's turn that on. And here, the default formatter, we want to pick the formatter that we have installed, which is Prettier. So from this list, go ahead and select Prettier. Very good. Let me make things messy a bit. All right, and now whenever I press Command S, Prettier is going to format my document because I have Format on Save on. That's just going to make my life easier so that I don't have to think about formatting as well. I have one more thing for you before we end this video, and this might be the most important thing in the whole video. You're going to spend hundreds of hours in this editor. It's not just a tool, it's where you live as a developer. So treat it as your space. Make it look the way you want. If you click on this gear icon, there is a theme section and you can pick the theme that you like. Some people like, for example, light screens. If that's you, go for it. Definitely that's not me. So I'm going to go back to the dark one. If you need more themes and these are not the ones you like, go and browse additional themes and pick the one that you're most comfortable with. Make it yours. Pick something that you like. I've seen people that are not comfortable with this way of representing icons here. For example, folders are represented as just arrows. Some people don't like that. And you can change it. You can go to extensions, look for icons. Here we have VSCode icons downloaded by 24 millions that don't like that arrow thing. If you install it, and then you can set it up. And if you look at your file explorer, you can see that the folders are more explicit. You can change many things. You can go to the settings, search for font, change the font family, change the font size, and anything that you like. Here's the bigger thing, beyond VS Code. Developers shape their tools. We do not just live with the defaults. If something annoys you, change it. Every small annoyance that you remove from your tools compounds over years, and that will be enormous. So reduce frictions and make your workspace fit you. The more it fits you, the more time you spend doing the actual work and less time fighting the tool. Very well. You have your VS Code set up and you are ready to begin your programming journey. I wish you all the best and I see you in the next video.